Hello, I'm Simon Whistler, you're watching the Today I Found Out YouTube channel, and in the video today we're looking at how the rumour that Paul McCartney died in 1966 and was replaced got started. For a couple of months in the fall of 1969, a persistent rumour that Paul McCartney had been killed 2 years earlier and replaced with a lookalike captured the imaginations of Beatles fans and the general public. The rumour began in the winter of 1967 when, after a particularly icy night, reports were flying among Britain's national press that Paul had been killed in a car crash on January 7, 1967. The tale was reported in the February issue of the Beatles Monthly Book, number 43, under the heading of False Rumour, and was a denial from the Beatles press office. In fact, it claimed that neither Paul nor his black Mini Cooper had even left the house that day. Fast forward to September 1969, about 1 week before the release of Abbey Road, when the student newspaper of Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa, ran the story, "Is Beatle Paul McCartney Dead?" In the article, which is written in the same style with which today's Ancient Aliens posits its wildest theories, Tim Harper opines that Paul may indeed be insane, freaked out, and even dead. Harper supported the statement by examining Beatles album covers and lyrics and pointed to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, where he found two mysterious symbols: a hand over Paul's head in what is conjectured to be an ancient death symbol, a left-handed guitar that lies on the grave at the group's feet. Paul was the only lefty. On the back cover, Paul is the only one not facing the camera, and in the centerfold, Paul is the only one wearing a black armband. Continuing with the examination, Harper looked at the walrus of the Magical Mystery Tour, revealed to be Paul's in 1968's Glass Onion, which, at least according to Harper, was a Viking symbol of death. And then, turning his attention to the Beatles, he reported that playing Revolution No. 9 backward produced phrases about death. It's not clear if Harper was kidding or not with his story, but it certainly captured the imagination of the country. By October 1969, the Beatles press office was flooded with questions about Paul's health, and on October 12, 1969, DJ Russ Gibb of WKNR-FM in Detroit, Michigan, moderated a full hour of an impromptu discussion of the topic with listeners who were calling in. Inspired Fred Labor, a University of Michigan natural resources student and reporter with its student newspaper, Michigan Today, who was assigned to review the recently released Abbey Road, penned a satirical piece titled "McCartney's Dead, New Evidence Brought to Light" on October 14, 1969. Unfortunately, many failed to realize he was kidding. In a 2009 article, Labor admitted that he had pulled all of his alleged clues out of his hat, but because so many didn't realize he was joking at the time, several of Labor's creations became part of the Paul is dead lore. These include that the lyric "the walrus was Paul" really means the corpse was Paul, with Labor claiming walrus is Greek for corpse, and that Paul was replaced with a Scottish orphan named William Campbell. Labor also claimed that letters on Paul's black armband from Sgt. Pepper's, OPD, stood for the British equivalent of DOA and meant officially pronounced dead, and that Paul's bare feet on the Abbey Road cover signified that he was a corpse. Labor also noted that Paul was smoking right-handed, a sure sign that this was an imposter. Within a week, the rumour, which now contained several of Labor's fabrications, had reached the national media. On October 21, 1969, the story was examined on New York's WABC, which was picked up, at least at that time, in 38 states. By now, the alleged crash was claimed to have occurred on November 9, 1966, after Paul had angrily left a Beatles recording session. In addition, at some point, rather than William Campbell, some people were saying Billy Shears was Paul's replacement, due to the lyric in Sgt. Pepper's. Although the Beatles press office continued to deny the rumour as a load of rubbish, for many the rumour lived on, even after Paul did an interview with Life on November 7, 1969. It all worked out for Paul and the Beatles though, because as a result of the rumour, Beatles album sales increased significantly, and both Magical Mystery Tour and Sgt. Pepper's re-entered Billboard's top album charts. At the end of November 1969, Labor participated in a cross-examination televised on New York's WOR that was hosted by F. Lee Bailey and which analysed the rumour. When Labor admitted to Bailey before the show that he had made up his facts, Bailey reportedly said, "We have an hour of television to do. You're going to have to go along." So he did. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do give us a like below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you did enjoy it, over there on the right, a couple of other videos you'll probably enjoy. And thank you for watching.